Welcome everybody to the TFW podcast. This is a super quick video. Doing this solo today. We're still figuring out our recording schedule with Matt and Rhodesia, occasional co-host Brandon. But I really want to get on here and talk to the family about championships in wrestling. Are there too many? A week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, AEW introduced yet another championship, the National Championship. I might even get the name wrong. It's all good. It's barbershop. I ain't gotta be accurate. There's a little bit of dialogue about AEW having too many champions, and a lot of the AEW guys shot back at the WWE guys, said, you know what? WWE has more championships. There was some dialogue, I think, between NXT and WWE. There's 19 championships. And between AEW and ROH, there's 17. And I'm here to tell you that both promotions have a title problem. And I want to walk through it with you guys. I want to get some interaction. I want to get some feedback. So hit me up in the chat. Hit us up on X. We're going to upload this on IG. I want to talk about championships. I think that there's too many on both companies. The old saying is less is more. And by the way, I'm doing off the top, no script on this one. I just want to talk to you guys about this situation, right? Less is more. So you would think if there were fewer champions, those champions would stand out and they would seem more important. When there's like 1,000 championships on each brand, it kind of muddies that a little bit, right? So I want to talk to you guys about how this started for me as a fan. Like, I started watching wrestling in the late 80s, and Hulk Hogan was my guy. And I knew that Hulk Hogan was the guy. He was the world champion. I knew he was the number one guy. But as a kid, to me, it seemed like the IC champion was the number two guy. Whoever the IC champion was, that was the number two guy. As I started getting older, I became a smarter fan. To me, I felt like the IC champion was like almost like the next up championship, like the guy who is on the rise, right? Because there was levels to this. So this is just another level for this guy to get into before he broke out into the world title picture and eventually becoming a world champion. You look at back in the late 80s, the champions that we had Ultimate Warrior. You had Ricky Steamboat, Macho Man. Into the 90s, you had Stone Cold Rock. All these guys were future champions. Even guys who weren't champion, and I'm talking world champion, Mr. Perfect, Ravishing Rick Rude. These are guys who felt like they were in that world title contention. They could at least challenge for the championship. If you go over onto NWA and WCW, they had the U.S. championship. And to me, that still was the number two guy. Think about the guys who had those titles in the 80s and the 90s. Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger, Sting, Barry Windham, right? When Barry Windham was supposed to be one of the guys who was going to be like the next world champion for decades until he got injured or whatever. Going to the 90s, you had the Monday Night Wars. You had Raven, my guy Raven, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, holding that title down. DDP, Goldberg, the list goes on to all these guys. It's a who's who list of guys who had these titles and it meant something. Let's talk about ECW. Their number two title was the television championship. And at some points, you know, their champion almost seemed to rival the world champion because RVD had that champion and it meant something when he held that title. And so for decades and multiple promotions, that number two title was prestigious. Like, as fans, we knew that the guys who had those titles were important. The company made those guys important. It wasn't until the brand split in WWE to where things got kind of weird with that secondary championship. So, you know, let's just walk through it. You know, you had SmackDown, you had Raw, supposed to be exclusive rosters. So they had exclusive championships. There still was the IC champion. So the second brand, SmackDown, got the US championship, which is kind of, they got that title from WCW. That's supposed to be their secondary championship. But right around that time, that's when old, dirty, stupid Vince stopped knowing how to book the mid-card, right? So then a lot of people started getting that championship on the IC side and the US side that really you didn't see them on the next level. They never ascended to that world title picture. They kind of win the championship, lose the championship, and they kind of go back down to the lower mid-card. And this started happening probably, you know, in the Ruthless Aggression era, really into Common Day. Like, really, Gunther had really rehabilitated that IC title picture. He made that IC championship like prestigious. He made it worthwhile in the fans. There was a certain point in time to where we felt as fans like, who was a better champion, Gunther as IC champion or Roman as the undisputed champion? Who would win? That's how well that Gunther carried that title. He made that championship. In a sense, the champions make the championship. They are the guys that really make that belt hot. Like, Gunther made that belt so prestigious, that IC title, that it stayed hot really up until now. You kind of think that that's like the next title that somebody wants to get. Dominic Mysterio, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Raw recently, which you should have, John Cena just beat him. So probably the next match he has will be for the IC title. And again, that's going to add a little more buzz to that championship, the next title holder. They're not only just fighting for, John Cena, they're fighting for the IC championship. That makes it even more worthwhile. So all I say this is that the champion and the company behind the champion makes that championship. So when I say there's too many championships, especially in AEW, I mean, there's not enough champions that I care about. I don't know why the hell I should give a damn about any of these titles. Let's talk about it. You got the world champion over there at AEW. I know that's a top dog. Okay? Why do I care about the TNT title? List me the last couple of champions that really mattered or put that title over. I don't know what is the next title? Is the Unified Championship, formerly the International Championship, a mixture of the Continental Championships, where I never understood what that was about. Like, right? Okada has that belt. Does it matter if he has that title or not? Do you care to see him defend that title or not? No. Who was the champion before him? I don't know, and I don't care. Who was it? I don't care. It didn't matter. Right, now we're bringing this national championship, which I think is it's originally with the All Atlantic title, which was formerly the international championship but it didn't work out, so they kind of did something different. Now they're bringing it back as the national. It's convoluted. I don't understand it, and I also don't understand why I should give a damn or why you should either. All that to say this: are there too many championships in AEW? Yes, there's too many titles that I don't care about. I don't know the purpose of. I don't have that feeling of when I was a little kid that I understood what these championships were, and I don't feel like any of them are important. There's too many champions. There's two shows sharing a roster, and they have a huge roster, but they're only focusing on a handful of guys. They got guys sitting on the bench because they don't have spots for them, right? But you have spots for all these championships, not to shine though, right? So you got guys just defending championships, and none of them matter. That's why it's too many. Right? You can say the same is happening on the WWE. You got a soft split. You got Raw. You got SmackDown. You got a primary champion for the men. You got a secondary champion for the men. You got tag team championships for the men. On the women's, on each brand, you got a primary championship. You got a secondary championship, and then you have a shared tag team titles for both divisions on Raw and SmackDown. Kind of makes sense why you have all these titles, but it still seems like it's too many. Right? If you look on the SmackDown side, the U.S. champion, Chelsea Green, I'm glad she has it back. I feel like maybe she can elevate that title a little bit. Right? Is Dragunov going to elevate this title? I don't think so, man. Do you see him being the next world champion? I don't think so. I'm be 1,000%, man. I just don't see it out yet. You give this dude the champion. He's not hot. He's fresh off an injury. He wins the championship. And you think put him in a bunch of matches is going to get him over with that audience? Nah, not really. I'm more interested in who's going to take the title off of him. And I hope the next person, hopefully Carmelo Hayes, can elevate that title and make me care about it. That's what I mean, y'all. It's too many titles that I don't care about and you don't care about too. Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on the X, the Twitter, if you still say Twitter. Let me know. Do you care about all these damn championships in AEW? If they unleash a 5th men's title, the Underwear Championship of America, will you care about it? Like, let me know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all these championships mean something, right? Because the ratings tell us the story, goddammit. It's telling us the more champions that we have on TV, the more people are going to watch and the more people are going to care. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, y'all. But I don't think so. It's too many. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's argue. Let's have some fun. And hopefully we'll see y'all next week. We're still figuring this thing out, y'all. My bad. right? We still figuring this out. We got a meeting coming up soon. We can kind of give you guys some more details on how we're going to handle the podcast going forwards, because the Lovebirds are making a big change, and I'm proud of them for doing and following their hearts, right? I told Matt that when he texted me, like, hey, he didn't give me a lot of warning either, man, but I told him he has my full support, and he has my full support in anything he does, right? Like, my people, if I love you, I love you. It doesn't matter what I think, man. Like, if you feel like it's good for you, as long as it's not like something like crazy, I don't think it's just crazy. I love that they're doing this for themselves. I think it's amazing. But we gotta figure some things out, man. We gotta figure some things out for the show. We build a brand here. We want to keep building this brand, right? So thank you for being patient with us as we go through these changes. We kind of navigate through it. But again, hit us up on the X, hit us up on Instagram, hit us up in the comments. Let me know, what do you think? Do you care about all these titles? Are there too many or just enough? Peace, y'all. Talk to y'all soon.